Are you concerned about how to start or manage your enterprise while working in an organization? There are increasing awareness of the need to either increase your earning capacities and or reduce your spending habits in these uncertain global economic and financial realities. Therefore, this episode of the Skillsmindset podcast focuses on how to balance your career progression and passion at the same time. And today, we're going to discuss a topic that is very challenging for many career-minded professionals out there: how to work well in an organization and achieve your entrepreneurial goals or aspirations. Welcome to the Skills Mindset podcast. I'm your host, Benga Lawal, author of This Space, Your Place. Diving with us into Power Mind Results as we'll explore talent, skill set, and experience. If you're ready for a giant leap into success accomplishments, this is the space. This is your place. Get ready and let's get started. You may have a regular job in an establishment, but also pursue a personal business venture outside of your working hours. As you know, this can be a rewarding and fulfilling situation, as it allows you to enjoy the benefit of both employment and entrepreneurship, such as a stable income, a creative outlet, and a potential for growth. However, it also requires a lot of balance, discipline, and communication, as it can create conflict of interest, time management issues, and ethical dilemmas. Therefore, you need to follow some guiding principles to assist you work well in an organization so as to avoid you jeopardizing your career and or frustrating your business expectations. Jumping into this conversation with me is no other person than someone who has the required wealth of experience, willing to share as he gives you some tips on how you can navigate through this needed situation. He's a business intelligence strategist, digital project manager, author, and entrepreneur. My friend, Kenneth Nkemnacho, good to see you and welcome to the Skills Mindset podcast.
Thank you so much, my brother Benga, and it's nice being on this space, and I do love the fact that you're doing this to encourage people and to teach them and to educate them on the way to go. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's lovely to be here.
Thank you for your time as well. You know, when I was thinking about this topic, it's actually because I had few people who are into employment, and they have had me, training some people with business startup and all that. So they were wondering how they can actually, get into the space of, the business and ventures at the same time continue to manage their, work as an employee. They don't really want to leave their job because they are career-minded people, but they of course finding it difficult to manage it. And I thought, a lot of people ask me on how to do that, either transiting from employment to entrepreneurship or manage the two together. Whatever it is, there must be a reason behind whatever anybody wants to do. So, and I thought the only person that I know that's got the kind of required experience and knowledge that the audience would need to hear from is you, and that's why we have you on board. And I really want to appreciate for your time, because I know as well that you're a very busy person. You have your own thing you do, but thank you so much for taking this time out to come, and most importantly to share your experience with the people. Thank you so much for that.
You're most welcome. I do appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you. So let's talk about you briefly, if that's okay, because okay. I told another friend of mine recently that you are one of the people who, during one of our meetings, I believe you will remember in the past, you strongly advised me to write books. And you shared your own personal experiences with me on how you got into writing, and now you must have written and published about 4 or 5 books in the very short space of time, maybe more. So what's your passion, Kenneth?
Well, my passion, I would say one of my passion is challenging people to be themselves,
Wow.
to be a higher grade of themselves. if I can use that language, because we can't all be the same.
Yes.
So my passion, I love to teach people and I love to learn as well. That was why I went into writing books. That was why I went into blogging. That was why I went into encouraging people, motivating people. I have done TV programs, I've done radio programs, I have done blogging, writing on different spaces and different platforms.
Yeah.
So my passion basically is to help people to find their purpose.
Yeah.
It hasn't changed and it will never change. That was where I started writing from, finding a real purpose.
Oh.
That was one of my first books.
Yes.
And that hasn't changed and it will never change.
Thank
So
you.
that's it. Yeah.
Oh, thank you for being consistent over the time. Yes, that's what I know, and I'd like to let you know that I've got a copy of that book, Finding Real Purpose. I got one of that, and I got one of other books you wrote, Pillars of Pillar and Precepts of Life. Yes, I got those very powerful books, and that's also why you are willing always to share your experience when you are called upon to just share few tips on how people can progress. And then, like you said, present an upgraded version of who they are, just to do better and to be excellent in whatever they do. So to get down to the nitty gritty in terms of the thrust of our conversation this day, how do you describe someone who is career-minded professional and then, of course, but also desires to pursue his entrepreneurial goals and aspirations?
Okay, that question, the reason when you told me to send in my profile, the reason I used the word entrepreneur is because I remember in business school, I went to business school to do an MBA. I felt the reason I went to do an MBA at Aston Business School or Aston University was because I just didn't want my own knowledge. I wanted a well-researched, rigorously critical academic knowledge to match up my transformational knowledge. So in business school, one of the courses I took was entrepreneurial strategy. And I was surprised when the lecturer that taught us, the woman that took us on entrepreneurial strategy, taught us one day on what she called corporate, not just what she called, because that's what it's called in entrepreneurship, corporate entrepreneurship or intrapreneurship. And that's where the topic we're discussing today is very essential. An intrapreneur or a corporate entrepreneur is somebody who works for another organization but decides to become an entrepreneur. So it is acceptable within the corporate space because the more entrepreneurial skills you have, the better contributions you make to your own organization.
That's correct.
That's what employers have discovered. And that's why when employers begin to see that you have those entrepreneurial skills, what they do is that if they want to get into a new line of business, they hire you. I mean, they put you on board to manage new ideas. They put you on board to manage innovations.
That's correct.
Because they know you have entrepreneurial skills. So in that circumstance, you are not just working for the organization, you are called an entrepreneur or you are called a corporate entrepreneur. So people who think, because they are working, they cannot do business, they cannot become entrepreneurs. No, you can. For as much as you look at the policies of your organization and you are not breaking the policies of that organization, you can go ahead and into entrepreneurship or corporate entrepreneurship if you are not breaking the rules and the policies of the organizations you work with. The only problem is when you are breaking the rules or you are trying to steal your organization's clients or something, you
Yeah.
are misrepresenting them. If you're not, you have an entitlement to become an entrepreneur. You are now called an entrepreneur.
Wow.
And when the organization needs you, they can always call upon you to manage their ideas and their innovations. So that's acceptable.
Wow. Thank you so much. That's actually powerful. Well, and I think that will present a kind of a relief. So for some listener out there thinking or struggling or concerned about whether it's okay for them to embark on their own enterprise while they are also working in an establishment, but because it's been a concern to a lot of people thinking that, well, maybe until after they are disengaged with the employment or after they have retired, I think they may be thinking that that's the best time for them, therefore, to begin their entrepreneurship journey. Whereas what you have just given out now is an insight into the fact that you can actually start wherever you are. The only thing you need to ensure you can confirm is the policies of the organizations and to know the extent to which you can go or where you can start. And more importantly, from what you've said, I think I took this out of what you've just said, that your experience is a factor that the organization should not close eyes on. They really know you have some values, they know you have some stuff, and they know they want to engage with what you know when you are become an entrepreneur. I think it's a good thing. It's a mutual benefit for both the
Of
organization
course.
and for
Yeah.
your own growth as well as a business owner or business venture. I think that's a good one. And but again, you see, being both an employee and then an entrepreneur can be challenging though. Why it is challenging, it can also be rewarding because you can enjoy the benefit of having a stable income or having a potential for growth. However, you also need to balance some stuff like your time, your energy, your interest, and avoid conflict of interest or issues with your employer or your businesses as well. So, what are the advantages or benefits in clear terms? And perhaps what are the challenges you can touch on of being an entrepreneur?
Okay, before I even talk about advantages or benefits or challenges,
Yeah,
there's something I want to talk about,
lovely.
because a lot of people they are like, how can I be working and also become run my own business or do my own thing? And they wonder how they would do it. Now, before I ever talk about that, there's something I call the slip road strategy.
Okay.
I the slip road strategy.
Yeah.
I have a cousin. I have a senior cousin
Yeah.
who was interested in Nigerian politics
Okay.
and wanted to contest an election in my state in Nigeria,
Yeah.
in Delta State in Nigeria. And when we had a conversation, I told him, I said, "You are not going to get anywhere with this dream that you have, this vision that you have." And he was like, "Why?
Yeah, of
Why
course.
wouldn't
Why?
I get anywhere?" I said, "Well,
Yeah.
because you have negated what is called a slip road strategy."
That's a
Now,
violation, isn't it?
yeah, you violated it. I said, okay, I'll give you an illustration. If for someone who lives in the UK, for instance, or in some advanced nations, if you drive in the UK, you will find out that there's what they call a slip road. If you are going onto the highway, for you to get onto that highway, you must go through a slip road.
Yes.
And the purpose of going through a slip road is for you to build up your speed, to build up the speed that is in consonance with the speed of the vehicles on the highway. So when you build up that speed and you get onto the highway, you will find out that you're not going to cause an
Yeah.
accident because your speed becomes equivalent to the speed of the vehicles on the
Of the
highway.
traffic. Yeah.
Now, I told my cousin, I said, "Come, you have never been involved in politics in Nigeria. You are not in any political party. You don't hold meetings with the political parties in the UK
Yeah.
where you live. You don't even write articles on politics. You don't even post any social media messages. You don't criticize on the
Yes.
social media
And
where
and
people
you want to
can know
dabble
you,
into their space.
and you want to just jump in. You
It's
just
gonna
want
it's
to
gonna it's
jump
gonna
in.
crash
I
land.
said it's not possible because
No.
you are going to cause an accident on
Exactly.
the highway because you haven't built up your
It
speed.
will surely crash
Now,
land.
this is the same risk that certain people who are in employment take. They wait until they retire to begin to mute the kind of businesses they want to go into when they retire. It doesn't work that way. It's never going to work because to build up to come up with a pool of ideas may take you 1 to 2 years.
Exactly.
Then to sieve those ideas may take you another 1 to 2 years. So you are waiting until you retire for you to start muting the ideas, coming up with a pool of ideas of the things you want to. If you haven't started doing it before you're retired, you are not going to do it when you retire.
Exactly.
That's a
That's
fact.
true.
So if you want to do business, you start from a slip road to start building up your speed. The things you want to do, for instance, you start doing it bit by
Exactly.
bit by bit,
Exactly.
bit by bit before you retire. By the time
absolutely
you are
correct.
getting close to your retirement, you have already built up the same speed with those who
Experience,
are in that
knowledge.
industry.
Yes.
So you are running on the same speed with them.
Exactly.
Listen, you asked me what are the advantages of entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
See, there's nothing like taking ownership of your own life.
Oh, that's powerful.
Nothing like taking ownership of your own life. You wake up when you want to wake up, you go to bed when you want to go. You are in charge, you are in control.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, for instance, my brother Benga, there are certain times I read some articles on some blogs and some websites and magazines, and I see that, my God, there's an error, a typo in this article, and they have left this typo on and on and on for ages without anyone going to correct it. If maybe you hired somebody to do the job and he's not even reading through or editing or proofreading the articles very well, and he launches it out. But if you are in charge and you know how to manage the tidbits and the little things about your business, you can simply log on to the dashboard.
Yes.
Go there. You spelled for as FRO instead of FOR. You just simply go there and correct it.
Exactly.
So you are in control. You are in charge. You understand? So you are taking responsibility, you are taking ownership and control. That's what entrepreneurship does for you.
Wow.
But the challenges is that you have to work day and night. There is, especially if you're a startup, you put in day, you don't have an opening time and you don't have a closing time.
Yeah.
You can work for 20 hours in a day, especially when you're a startup. You have to put in everything. You are the messenger and you are the manager. That's what it takes. You have to put in all you need to put in to make sure that it works. That's one of the challenges. That's the basic thing. And that's it.
Wow. Thank you so much for that. You've actually said a lot within the space of short time you've spoken now. Because I also would like to buttress the point you raised earlier on, thinking that I'm using your slip road strategy as a point of departure here as well. I have actually spoken with a few of my friends who are in their middle age, if you get what I mean, and they are of the view that, you know what, because when we get into some chatting and talking, and then I said, what exactly is what happens after you leave whatever you are doing? What exactly becomes of you? And then you'll be surprised that many, more than the number of people who think otherwise, they were of the view that, after I retired, then I'll go into this business and I'll get my money, I'll start this business. And I said, okay, guys, let's look at it this way. You have said something because that is all that you know, and that may not necessarily be the best for you. Now, you are going to retire, you don't even know when you're going to retire. Let's put it this way, at age 67, you want to retire at 67. The first thing you need to understand is, number one, you have not by 67 determined the kind of businesses you want to do, even if you're going to retire and then start your business. Number two, you don't know the rules and of engagement of that business. You don't know what is going on now. And number three, you have never had any experiences or any lesson learned from any mistakes or anything. You get peanuts as part of your, well, permit my language, your French, in terms of whatever you get as a retired person or personnel.
Benefits,
and you take all 70% of that into a business venture that you have no clue about. And then 6 months or 1 year after you've started, you come back to say you've lost money and now you've learned experience, but there's no way to bounce back. I said, I think common sense, and I use that word carefully, and that does not to say that people don't have it, but it's just to say that, you know what, while you are working and you are actively working, that is the time that you should actively get into your own enterprise, because you can then leverage on your knowledge, on your agility, and you can still make some corrections and still make some reverse. You can still change your gears. Like you said, you can gain momentum, you can slow down, you can fast track. You will be able to maneuver because you are still active. You can still do a lot of things. But not when your old life is done and dusted with in terms of active lifestyle. And then you then want to embark on a journey that you will need energy, full energy, to get into the main road. Like you said, get on the highway. You need full energy. They don't want somebody to be on 20 miles per hour when you are supposed to be doing 70 miles per hour.
Exactly.
You can meet up.
Yeah.
So why you can still gain speed? Why can't you also try and negotiate and try and see whether you can take a bit of a share of the lane on the motorway and then stay on one lane while you try to get to the fast lane? And I hope that analogy can help some people, because that is the best way I think you can start. So that's what is all summarize the concept of entrepreneurship, if I'm right. Because that means while you are working, leverage on your knowledge, on your friendship, on your colleagues, on things around you. In fact, you know what? Even on the training that you are freely given in your place of work can help you to do so much more for yourself. And whatever you've learned out there can also help you, because you deploy that even in what you do for your employer as well. So I think there's a mutual benefit in that concept. So I support what you said, and I think it's very important that people start to know that you don't have to wait until you retire before you get into your business. Get into it while you are working now, so that you will be able to know, if you have made mistakes, if you can bounce back, or if you want to change route, whatever it is you want to do. Maybe you want to upgrade yourself in terms of education or training. And then, of course, that will help you while you are doing what you're doing. Don't leave it until when you are retired. Once you are retired, you are out of it completely. You are out of the game. Nobody wants you, whether it's your private business or you want to get engaged. Nobody wants you.
They don't need you because you are too old. You don't even understand what the age is talking about. There's technological disruption which the old people need to come to terms with.
Even regulations as well. Even
regulations. Now, let me tell you, because you're talking, now I'm going to talk about the importance of technological disruptions when it comes to entrepreneurship. Listen, Benga, there's the cloud technology. There's machine intelligence. There's machine learning. There's artificial intelligence. There's the Internet of Things. There's the big data. There's the blockchain technology that is controlling the digital space in this current age. There's a search engine optimization that's controlling digitality in terms of how much you go viral in this current space. There is the social media, the big data. the big data that you can analyze to get information, and that's going to give you an idea of where to step into and where not to step into. Enough of gambling, because a lot of people are just gambling.
Exactly.
Listen,
Try by
when
error.
it comes to entrepreneurship, it's not about what you like.
It's about
It's not
what
about
is needed.
what you like. It is about what the people want.
Exactly.
It's whether, listen, I'm a religious person, but I like to be very cautious when it comes to that. If you want to become an entrepreneur, you have to give up some of your religious dogmatisms.
Yeah.
I'm telling you this, Benga. It's a fact. You can't say, oh, I remember those days when I was young, when I was teaching in Nigeria, and I used to live in an area, Alagomeji in Lagos, Nigeria. And we used to have this DJ, an old DJ, nice man, and this man loved Ebenezer Obey music, Sonny Ade, this, that, the old kind of music. And he would play that and play that for people. But the world was changing. The world was changing, and he refused to change. So he began to lose businesses. Then it was the hip-hop thing that was reigning, and the young people were doing hip-hop and all that. When he saw that his business started going down, he had no choice. Because at first he said, no, he wasn't ever going to change. When it comes to entrepreneurship, change
It's eminent.
is something. It's eminent. You cannot stop it. Change. Look at what the world. This morning, I was looking through the social media, and one of my Facebook friends was advertising that Alexander O'Neill was coming to play in a cafe, a jazz cafe in London. I said, oh my God, Alexander O'Neill coming to play in a jazz cafe. He should be packing Wembley Stadium. He should be packing O2.
I tell you.
But you know what happened? There has been change. Afrobeats has taken over.
Yeah. You can't pull the crowd. No more. Yeah.
Have dethroned some of those legendary American artists. And if you refuse to move with time, I tell you, man, you will be left behind.
Actually, it's going to be a word of regret. Leaving you behind is even a very, very mild statement. To be honest, you'll be frustrated. You'll be frustrated if you don't catch up with what is going on. It's a lot to take in. Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Yeah. I was having a conversation with you the other day when we were talking about the young people.
Yeah.
I said, sometimes you say, oh, these young people, they don't read anymore. In our time, we used to go to the library.
Yeah.
We used to do this. We used to do that. We spent hours reading.
Yeah.
Oh, they need to go back to reading. What did I say to you? I said, it is us that need to step up. You think you were reading then. Compare you of 18 years old those days and the 18-year-old child now, and tell me who is more exposed and who is more intelligent. It is the 18-year-old child of today.
Yeah.
When you compare your children, their age to the age you were,
I think there's no.
At that
you can't imagine
age,
how much they can do with the information they have. Because again, like you said, information that we will have gone to the library to read about. So for a writer to even write about it, it takes a while, and they don't even get the clear picture of what they were writing about. But that's what we regurgitate. That's what we consume.
Yeah.
But then now, what we will have traveled to the library to read, they are in the atmosphere. They don't even, they don't, subconsciously, they pick those things up as part of learning. But we will have to sit down and read those things because, I mean, if you have never been to UK and they were talking about London Bridge, because they used to sing the song for us, London Bridge and all that. Not until when I got to to the UK that I know that it was not the same London Bridge that they were referring to as London Bridge. They were referring to Tower Bridge as London Bridge.
Tower Bridge.
It was now that I realized that London Bridge is different from Tower Bridge. But they presented Tower Bridge for us as London Bridge, which was wrong. What kind of information were we consuming? And I would have gone to the library, 2 hours trip, to go and read about Tower Bridge or London Bridge, which is wrong. Anyway.
Now, another. Listen, I want to say something about this same entrepreneurship, entrepreneurship, or corporate entrepreneurship. Listen, you see why we must always be on the front foot, Benga. The competition in this current age doesn't go by weeks, it goes by seconds. If you are not standing on your feet and you say you are doing a business and you are not researching and following what is trending and looking into some people are into business say, what do I want to do with Facebook? I have Twitter. They just go there to start chatting nonsense. It means you don't understand what the world, what obtains in the world. That's what they call the big data.
Yes.
The big data. This podcast is not enough for me to talk about it.
I can tell you. Tell.
It is not, there's so much in my head I want to say, but time will not permit me. Listen, let me tell you, if you are not on the front foot, researching, developing, looking at what's going on by the seconds, you are going to lose out. Yeah. Let's take, for instance, Nokia. What did Nokia do wrong? That they were pushed out of the market. The former CEO of Nokia, before they shut down their business, he addressed the employees and said to them, we did nothing wrong. We did nothing wrong. We had one of the best phones in the world. But what was their mistake? When other people were moving, when Apple was moving, when Samsung was researching and taking the front foot and updating everything they were doing by the seconds, Nokia thought they could do it by the year. Things are changing. Look at what happened to Primark during COVID.
Yes.
Primark never had an online store. No online store. They did not move with the time. They were not dynamic. They didn't go on the front foot. What happened? During the lockdowns, Primark did not sell a penny because there was no online store.
And nobody could go to the physical store. So
yes,
they are running out of business gradually.
They nearly ran out of business if the lockdown wasn't stopped. Now, Primark has opened an online store for children. Recently, about a few weeks ago, they opened for females. So they are taking the project bit by bit, stage by stage, until they have a full online store. When you want to be going to entrepreneurship, it's not when you want to start that you just jump in.
Yes.
Benga, there's a business I want to start in the next 1 year. I tell you, I started gathering my team nearly a year ago.
Wow.
And I've been having meetings with them. It took us nearly 1 year to come up with a brand name. We kept brainstorming. We kept coming up with ideas and deleting ideas. We kept analyzing those ideas. Names alone. People say, what is in a name? There's a lot.
That's the brand.
There's a lot in a name. Because I said to myself, I don't want to go back to where I'm coming from. The mistakes I made along the road, I don't want to make those mistakes anymore. That's why you must start now.
Yes.
If you ask me, what do you suggest? Start now. You don't need to open that shop immediately now.
Yes.
Handle it like a project. And projects come in stages.
Exactly.
All the principles of project management, put those things in place. If you want consultation, people like Benga and I are there.
Yeah, they can even.
It will cost you money.
Training. There's so much training out there.
You can be
Seminars,
trained. We
workshop,
can
master
teach
class,
you. Workshops are there.
One-to-one
If
coaching.
you want a one-to-one, come. We are there. We will help you. Yes, we are going to charge you money, but it will cost. The information you are going to get. When I was doing my dissertation, my project dissertation in the MBA program, why did I go back to school? I already had a master's degree. I would say, oh, I'm very educated. I've done this, I've done that, I've done that. I said to myself, no. The world is changing. And you have to move with the world.
Exactly.
I went back to school. And when I went back, when I was doing my MBA research, I discovered that, okay, the lockdown, how can small and medium scale businesses survive? I decided to pick up a topic on content strategy that will guide people on how to sell in a VUCA world. What in leadership strategy they call VUCA: volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. That's the COVID environment, the lockdown environment was a VUCA world. Brexit was a VUCA world. So you needed to know how to survive in business as an entrepreneur in a VUCA environment. I picked a very high digital technological topic of which I didn't study that initially. That was when I talked about search engine optimization, all of that, how to go viral on the social media, how to push your business to the top #1 page on Google. All of that, I decided to go for that, to learn. Why? Because of entrepreneurship. Wow. There's so much that people can do if they open up their hearts to learn. As an entrepreneur, you must continue to learn. That's it.
That's very good.
And there's something else I'll talk about before we finish this podcast. Let me just give you give you the space.
I will, because there are a few questions I want to one or two as well. Yes, while you were talking, what just struck me was that yes, people do things for various reasons, isn't it? I know a lot of career professionals who really just want to be, how do I put it? Just want to be professional to the core, if you like. They just don't want to be diverted in whatever they are doing. They are born career person, and they just want to follow that through. Although in this economy, just like what you are saying, people need to come to the reality, the economic reality of this day. It is not wrong to remain, a career person, but it's a challenge when you are always out of pocket to maintain your lifestyle, particularly before you even retire, or much more when you are retired. So, but in getting into the space of entrepreneurship, and I know that in a workplace you want to create an atmosphere, or if the workplace is an atmosphere where you can engage, you start engaging with your own enterprise, and then you can start doing things along the way or on the side while you are concentrating on your work. I think one of those things that needs to be in place is to create an atmosphere where employee can have what I want to refer to as sense of belonging, isn't it? Where they think they feel comfortable, they feel the atmosphere is right for them to be able to think, and then not necessarily to be super guided, or how do I use that word, so that they don't let them be flexible and be able to engage their creative ability to deploy that into whatever they are doing. So belonging is especially important, and it can influence employees' engagement or improving their productivity. That's what I'm trying to say, or enhance their creativity as well, and ultimately their loyalty. So how can an employee feel a sense of belonging in a workplace? Because again, you will be surprised that some people who went into businesses while they are working, it's not necessarily because they really define why they were doing that, but they accidentally went into it, and that's why it is poorly managed, or they don't even know how to navigate it. But to put it in perspective, how can an employee feel sense of belongings in a workplace?
Listen, let me be very honest with you. I work in a highly bureaucratic environment.
Yeah.
I work with the NHS as a digital project manager.
Yeah.
And there's no within United Kingdom, there's no environment that is highly bureaucratic as the National Health Service. Let me be very honest with you. If you're looking for a very conducive, comfortable environment to become an entrepreneur, you will never get it. That's a fact. It is you
create the
that will
environment.
have to create the environment for yourself. You are the one that will have to navigate the difficult terrains, the dodgy terrains in the remote areas, and come up with your own identity and come up with your own uniqueness. That brings me to what they call the blue ocean strategy. Creating your uniqueness, creating your own identity, creating your market differentiation, creating your product differentiation. You move from a region of a red ocean to that of a blue ocean. Because you see, there's something that people need to understand, because I did a podcast now, a short video podcast the other day that I posted on the social media. And I said in that podcast, I said some people will always say, "Oh, what business are people doing these days?" They want to do business, and they are asking, "What business are people doing these days?" Because they want to get into that business that people are already doing. You are getting into a red ocean, an already saturated environment. What do you think your market share is going to be if you are looking for a business that people are doing these days? Why not carve out an identity for yourself, a market niche? Why not move? I don't believe in gaining competitive advantage. Because if you want to gain competitive advantage, it means you are in a saturated environment.
Yeah.
It is more expensive to gain a competitive advantage, especially where the big boys are dominating.
Wow.
Rather than do that, why not walk away and ask yourself, I'm not looking for what people are doing. I'm asking, what do people need? Not what people are selling or the businesses that people are doing these days. Ask yourself, what do the people need?
Exactly.
And sometimes we should understand that people may not always know what they need when we are going into entrepreneurship. And I'll tell you why. When we were using the analog phones, people did not know they needed a mobile phone.
A smartphone.
A smartphone. It didn't come into the heads of people. When we were using the trial phones, it did not get into the heads of people because they felt that was the best. It did not get into the heads of people that you can put internet on the phone. It didn't get there. What the internet is, that smartphone is doing today, Look at the Nigerians. There's one now. A lot of people are talking about Afro beats in Nigeria now. That Afro beats has taken over the world. Of course, it has. But there's something else that has taken over the world, or that's taken over the world in Nigeria, that people haven't taken seriously. This kit industry. This kit industry. Look at people like Macaroni. Look at people like Sabinus. Look at people like Mark Angel, Emanuela. What they are doing is kit based on that small thing on their hands, the smartphone. These are entrepreneurs. The other day, Ali Baba, the legendary Nigerian comedian, said something just a couple of days ago. He said, when you look at Mark Angel on his kits, you will think this guy, look at how he dresses. He said Mark Angel makes over $300,000 in a month.
Yes.
Over $300. So, entrepreneurship does not have to be buying and selling or producing products, this and that. Social entrepreneurs are there.
Of course.
These entertainers are entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
If it's where you are gifted, because that's one area that can make it easy for you in terms of being an entrepreneur. If you are gifted in something, develop it.
Yeah.
And where people are saying to you, oh, it's like you are so good at doing this thing, you are so good at cooking. Don't say, don't talk down on yourself and say, what are the food doesn't even taste nice. It does. If more than 10 people have told you that the food tastes nice, that you know how to make stew, you better start a business of making stew, because that's where your gift is, that's where your talent is. That's a clue. That's what you need to do.
That's very true. And that's very important. That's another tips you have just given on how to actually identify or discover your niche in the world of business ventures. Because it's very important when people are also addressing the question of, what should I do? How should I do it? Again, it is not because you want to do something. It is because you have found a need to do something. And that makes you an entrepreneur. And then you can develop on that. You can ask questions. You can go, like you said, you can go for training and coaching. And you'll be surprised how much speed you're going to gain in terms of progression, into being managing your own enterprise. It's very important, and I thank you for that you have given. And I know you've got a lot to talk about, and of course I'm going to allow you to talk on the brief, to bring it down home. How can one succeed as an I know you've mentioned here and there. How can one succeed as an entrepreneur, for instance? Yes, you are in a workplace, you are in an organization, and you are minding your business, isn't it? So then at what point do you want to, or what portion of time do you want to allot for which one? Because without necessarily conflicting or raising issues of using one's employer's time on your own business, or use your business time on your work. So how can you succeed, as an entrepreneur?
Well, it's time based. If you put in 1 hour a day into what you want to do with your life, if you do that 1 hour 5 days a week, you're putting 5 hours,
which is a lot,
into your own thing. That will do a lot for you. That will do a lot for you. You need to be consistent with it. And I'll tell you why I talk about consistency. I have someone. I always have a lot of people that I try to challenge and to motivate. There's something that she wants to start up, a project that she wants to start up on social enterprise. And you know what? I advise her a lot. I consult with her a lot. But the problem is that it's only when we meet on the train that she remembers that she wants to do business. She wants to do so and so thing. And I said to her the last time we met, I said, you are not, you are taking this thing like a hobby, and that's where one problem I really want to hammer on. For the fact that you have a regular job, I think this is one thing that many intending entrepreneurs do. When they have a regular job with a regular pay and they can do some overtimes and they're able to pay their mortgages and their rents, and they're able to buy a good car on hire purchase, and everything looks cool and honky dory and all that. When it comes to that thing they want to do, they treat it like a hobby, not a business. Anything you treat like a hobby, any intending vision that you treat like a hobby will never pay you anything.
It's not gonna go nowhere.
It's heading nowhere. It's heading nowhere. If you treat it like a hobby, you are going nowhere. You must be business-like. The way you manage that business, when your boss in the office says to you, I need this thing at so and so time, that's the same thing that you need to do when it comes to your own personal business.
Exactly.
That 1 hour that you put in per day must be worth that 1 hour. Never treat it like a hobby. That's number one.
Got to be intentional
Number
about it.
two, you must be intentional about it. Number two, I know this thing I'm going to say now, some people will say, seriously? Entrepreneurship does not succeed. Okay, how do I put it now? Let me put it this way. People think that passion it's enjoyable. That's what they think. When I'm going to dig into that. They think that passion is enjoyable. I do a lot of writing.
Yeah.
And when I do write, and when I meet people who find it challenging to write, they say to me, oh, you write better because you enjoy it. You enjoy writing because it's your passion. Therefore, you enjoy it. I'm like, are you stupid for saying that or what? Who enjoys to write? Do you know how many books sometimes you have to read to come up with one information that you are writing? Do you know how many articles, how many researches you have to do to get a piece of an article out, maybe 1,500 word article? Do you know how much research that one has to make? Who enjoys doing that? Let me tell you, for the fact it's a passion does not mean it must be enjoyable. You have to put in the shifts. You have to put in the shifts to make it work. Passion is not enjoyment. Passion is what you have a desire for, and a driving desire, a hunger for. Does hunger make anyone feel comfortable? No. Passion is hunger. It doesn't make anyone feel comfortable.
That's
if hunger does not make you feel comfortable, what makes you think that passion will make you feel comfortable, that you will enjoy it? Do you enjoy hunger?
No.
That's where people miss it. That's where they make mistakes. They think, oh, it's my passion. So if I'm not, so when they get into it and it's placing a demand on them, what do? They run away. They say, I thought this was my passion. I'm not enjoying it. I thought it was my passion.
Passion is about because
they don't even know what passion is.
Yeah, you don't work on your passion. You just say it because people talk about passion.
Passion means hunger.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're hungry, you go look for food.
Do you? Yeah, you go look for food. Do you enjoy hunger?
Yeah, no.
When you are hungry, do you feel comfortable? Passion takes you out of the circle of your comfort zone. That's passion. Then another thing, the last thing I want to talk about before I give you the space to say something is about collaboration.
Wow, I think I was going to talk on that actually. I want you to
Colla
explain that in the context of this. Yeah,
Yes,
it's very important.
collaboration, Benga. Most of our people, you know what? When they have a dream, they want to dream alone and do it alone. They want to be the web designer. They want to be the marketer.
They want to cook
They
alone
want
and eat
to.
alone.
They want to be the content creator. They want to be the advertiser.
Oh, no.
They want to be the one selling it on the street. They want to be everything. What they are not cut out for, they want to do it. Even when you are cut out for something, there's always an external input that will make it taste better.
Exactly.
Ask me, why did Afro beats take over the world? It's collaboration.
Yes.
Collaboration. That was what. Let me give you an example. There's this Afrobeat musician they call Techno. He was the one that did this song Pana. Now, do you know that the song that was done by Davido, Feel It, Them Go Feel It, was written by Techno? That song was written by Techno. And Techno himself has written songs for Canadian artists like Drake. He wrote a song for Drake. Look at almost all the Afrobeat songs you will see, there's always featuring this, featuring that. If it's Tiwa Savage singing, featuring Burna Boy, or featuring Joe Boy, or Fireboy, or this and that. If it's a Fino, maybe Olamide is there and all that. Or an American artist, or a South African artist, or a Ugandan artist. There's always this collaboration.
Yeah.
You cannot win alone as an entrepreneur. You need to collaborate with people. I'm not saying open up all your strategies to people. I'm not saying that, because some people are idea thieves.
Yes.
If it is not already cooked, don't share it. Let it be well cooked before you share it. That's one thing. There was something that Wizkid said about 2 weeks ago. He said, now I understand what my mother meant by saying, eat with your mouth closed. Eat with your mouth closed. There are certain things you don't share with people. When you are eating it, eat it and stop making a noise on the social media. They eat them jejely, without screaming about it, until it is well cooked. But when you have finished cooking, like there's this song, I love Afrobeats a lot, and I study the people. There's this Nigerian artist that's called Kiss Daniel. There's this song he did, Gwagwalada. When they finished producing that song, he sent the song to another artist to listen to and to make an input into that song. After that song was cooked, collaboration. After it has been cooked. You can't do it alone. But when you are collaborating, make sure you are collaborating with like minds, people who understand values, people who understand growth, progress, people who will enhance what you're doing, not those that will bring it down or put it on the same level. If they are going to put it on the same level, then it's pointless. Go to people who are higher and better than you in that area. If it's going to take you 1 year to get the attention of those people, where are you rushing to? Where are you rushing to? Let it take a year. There's something I want to do now. There are certain people I want to meet to do that, and I've said to myself, if it's going to take me 2 years to break into the rooms of those people and speak with them about it, then I'm going to wait. But I will keep knocking on that door so that I will collaborate with those people.
That's lovely. Now, I'd like to bring that back home, because I like to bring things, in in context as well. So for instance, if you an employee and you have a business idea, you're an enterprise that you really want to venture into, what Kenneth is trying to say, correct me if I'm wrong, is that, or as I echo what you're trying to say, is also that, you know what, you may think you don't have the time, but you got a partner somewhere, or, a partnership, a business. You can go into that, and then while you are working, doing your own work, you are also minding your business. By the way, maybe you invest into what others are doing, or they invest into what you are doing. They take it on, they are working on it while you are working as well. And like you said, if you devote 5 hours a week, equivalent of 1 hour per day, into the business, before you know it, you are leveraging on other people's time, knowledge, experiences, and connection, if you like, to advance the business. Why you can grow your business with collaboration, with partnership, while you are still doing what you are doing. I think that's also in line what you're saying, Kenneth.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Because
that's
a lot of people
exactly
don't know how to start something. You don't have to know everything, like he said. You don't have to be on. You don't have to wait. For things you don't know. Even what you don't know anyway, except you are making effort to know it. But while you are working, it takes
a lot of time to know.
So get engaged with somebody who are into the same business you think you are doing. See how you can work together, where they can collaborate at that point. So they will be doing the business, scaling it while you are still working. And before you know it, you can then benefit from that. And that's also a way of being an entrepreneur. You're still an entrepreneur. An investor, for instance, into other people's businesses, they are making money while they are an employee. So there are a lot of ways, the dynamics of making sure that you can break through your financial difficulties and start your own business enterprise. Is so many opportunities out there that we can explore only if we know how to leverage on the power of collaboration. Yeah, I like that. And I think it's key.
Another thing, Ben, guys, identifying talents.
Wow.
Identifying talents. There are young people out there that know better than what you know in what you want to do.
Yeah.
That's why being on the social media is very key. For instance, I identified 3 talents on the social media on what I want to do. I reached out to them. I used 1 year to observe them. Benga, 1 year, I observed them. I read everything they wrote, all the videos they shared, all the comments they made. I was following them for 1 year without them knowing I was following them. And their consistency.
Yes, that's it.
Their consistency was what moved me. When I saw that for over a year they've been consistent, I reached out to them. 3 of them are students. 2 are undergraduate students. 1 is doing his PhD. He's rounding up his PhD.
Yeah.
I reached out to the 3 of them. And when you identify talent, it is the way you relate with the people that's very important. You know what? I know I don't have much. What I did was that the school fees of the PhD student, I paid half of it.
You see?
Relationship.
Yes.
Building relationship. Exactly. When you identify talents, when you collaborate, you must learn to build relationships.
That's very good.
The people you meet, don't damage them with negative attitudes.
Exactly.
If you want to be an entrepreneur, don't damage them with negative attitudes.
Exactly.
Don't be stingy as well, but make sure you really observe the things you're doing.
And if you're not clear about anything, ask questions. Clarity is key.
Ask questions. Yeah. I investigated those 3 people.
That's it.
I identified 4, but 3 I felt would be good in what I'm doing. The 4th one, I paid his master's school fees.
You see?
I paid. Even when I knew I didn't need him to join me in what I want to do, I knew I could always say, do this for me, go run down here for me, run down there for me. I paid his master's school fees. That was what I did without intending to get him involved into what I want to do in some months' time. Build relationship. That's one of the best things you can ever do as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Build relationships, and in your regular job, stand out.
Exactly.
It's not like you are the one they will be forcing to do something. You will not do it. You say, "Oh, I don't belong here. I don't." They pay your bills.
Exactly.
Make sure you're on top. And Benga, I'm going to say this to you because it will seem like I'm bragging. I was having a meeting with my boss, my manager. You know what she called me? A white English woman. She said, "Ken, you are a legend." My wife was surprised. You are a legend. She said, since you came into the department, you improved the department. You made it better. We've learned a lot from you. That's how it should be.
Exactly.
If you want to be an entrepreneur, the job you are doing, put in your best there. Because it's in putting in your best there that you are going to learn how to put in the best in your own job.
Exactly.
That's very key.
That's very
very
true.
key.
Yeah, that's very true. Yes, thank you so much for saying that. And I know that a lot of people will have learned a lot of things from this. It is important. You mentioned that, and I think it's important we emphasize on that yes, being an entrepreneur, please mind your business, be loyal to your employer, be professional towards them as well, and to your colleagues. Don't say because you are starting your business a side way and then you are now lackadaisical about your work and so lazy about. No, it's not acceptable. And more importantly, please do not disclose any confidential sensitive information about your employment. In your person is very important, because then that's a violation of rules. It could be a criminal offense, and you got to be careful at doing that. So what is important is to stay in line. Just mind your business while you do your work. That's the most important thing. Prioritize your work and your task, and schedule your workload. Make sure you are efficient and effective in what you do. You may have to cope with stress. You may have to understand to deal with uncertainty and some changes that may come, and handle any challenges or setback that may arise in your work and in your business. So be open to learning new skills, gaining new experiences, and seeking new opportunities, both in your work and in your business. I think it's very important. And I'd like to say this, Kenneth. Lastly, if you are confused or still concerned, I think it's good to seek professional advice or coaching.
Nothing as good as that.
You need to seek for help if you need help, because there's always an answer to every question. I always tell people there is nothing that has no solution. If you don't know it, it's because you have not found it. So, because sometimes managing your business could be challenging as well in terms of finances, and you also want to stay out of debt. So please ensure you are able to deal with situation. And then I tell people, don't forget about this. You may be an employee for a long time. You may be a career minded. The essence of you having your own business, I decide, is that it does not matter how much you love your work, you love the employment, or you love the employer. They could make you redundant anyway.
Yeah, these days, no job is secure.
So
no job is secure these days.
It's only your business that you can't fire yourself off if you do it well. So be mindful of that. So final words, Kenneth. Final words from you.
Well, final word is don't be scared taking risks. Because entrepreneurship is all about taking risks. Don't be scared.
Wow.
For as much as you go through that slip road, that's the essence. The slip road is meant to kill the fears. That's what it's meant to do. Don't be scared to take risks. Don't be scared to start something. Even if you fail, you have learned something.
Exactly.
And one thing I would like to end up with, don't throw all your eggs in one basket, please.
What do you mean by that, though?
There are lots of free... Okay. My web designer, we had a conversation, and he said, the thing I want to do, that they can do a consultation for me for 3 months. So I say, how much are you going to charge me? He gave me a certain amount, which is quite high. I said to him, okay, you write down what you are going to do for me within that 3 months. Let me have a look. Let me see your value proposition.
Yeah.
If your value proposition is worth me putting that money in, then I'll be able to say, yes, I will do it, or no, I cannot afford it. Then he went back, he wrote the whole thing out in a very professional way. That's what I love him for. He's very good at that. And he sent it down to me. When I looked at it, I discovered that there was nothing there that I could not do myself. These were why I did the research I did during my MBA. All of the researches I did were the things he said he was going to do for me. Then I responded by thanking him and appreciating him for what he put. I said they are great things, but actually for the few years I've been silent on writing, this was what I spent about 3 years studying. So I feel I'll be able to manage that myself, and that when I get to the point where I cannot, I will call him in. There are many free information online that you can access first. You can leverage before you start putting your hard-earned money into certain things. Go to YouTube, is very resourceful. Go download whatever you want to learn there. Study it, watch it. Go to Google, study, read. Don't be lazy.
Exactly.
If you look at that, then you'll be able to know the things you can access without paying for. Then you will also be able to know the things that you cannot access. Then you can pay for those things. Spend wisely. That's my advice to you.
That's good. That's good. The most important thing is for you to drive your business while you work where you work. Because if you don't drive it, you could be driven out of it. It's very important. So thank you so much, Kenneth, for this inspiring
You're welcome.
Contribution on this episode today. These are some of the tips that can help you work well as an employee and mind your business as an entrepreneur. So the most important thing is that find what works for you or what best for you, and do that to enjoy the journey. Make sure you leverage on other people's skills, knowledge, partnership, relationship, and collaboration, like we've said. And it's very important. Ensure you can enjoy the journey. That's the most important thing. So thank you for listening to this podcast. I hope you find them inspiring and informative. If you have any questions, comments, or inquiries, please feel free to visit our website at www.skillsmindset.com. Leave us with a message, and then one of our team will reach out to you. Also, please subscribe to this podcast so that you don't miss any episode. I encourage you to embrace every moment with courage and optimism. Continue to pursue your dreams with relentless passion. Until next week, take care, chase your goals with knowledge, and stay focused. Bye for now. Thank you.